I've read a lot of crazy stories here, but never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that I'd be here telling my own life story. But that's what my life has brought me to, so why not just go ahead with it and give it a try? Hey guys, I'm Jenna, your average-aged, middle-aged woman, with an amazing husband, an adorable baby, and a good life. I'm sure it sounds too good to be true, right? Well, I guess that's the cue for me to introduce the biggest hiccup of my life, my mother-in-law, Katherine. You must have read a lot of evil mother-in-law stories by now, but Katherine is something else. It pains me to say that I sort of underestimated how evil she could be until now. So the reason I'm here is because my mother-in-law has kicked me out of the house, and I honestly feel pretty helpless right now. To understand how things came to this, you guys must be understanding of how my bond with Katherine has been from the beginning. Since the day my husband Andrew introduced me to his mother, we got engaged and things in my life started to go south. Katherine hated my guts right from the start, since I was not the kind of daughter-in-law that she wanted for her son to marry. Katherine wanted a shy, timid daughter-in-law, whom she could order around and who would obey her without any other question. But she got me instead. Anybody who meets me for the first time can clearly tell that I'm not somebody who could be influenced or tamed so easily. I'm the type of person who would bluntly speak the truth in front of everyone without caring much about hurting other people's feelings. That doesn't mean that I'm not sensitive to people's emotions. It's just that I don't allow others to order me around easily. And I'm sure Katherine must have gotten this vibe from me right from the start. You know, I did not feel anything wrong with it. I was just being myself. However, since that day, there was this strange tension between us. The tension became quite palpable when, weeks after Andrew introduced me to Katherine, she told me that she would not accept me as her daughter-in-law. She told me that she wanted a stay-at-home wife for him and could not accept somebody who devoted so much of my time to my work. See, I'm actually a nurse, so at times I have crazy hours at the hospital, and it seemed that Katherine had a problem with it right from the start. She even went ahead to introduce some other girl to Andrew for him to marry. I was actually very disappointed by all of these things because it was just clear to me that she'd been a thorn in my side forever. And that's actually what she did. She's been trying to get me out of Andrew's life since the day we got married. She even tried to create a scene at our wedding. But she stayed shut when Andrew told her that the wedding was going to happen regardless of what she did or did not do. I thought she finally gave up at that point, but no. After the wedding, she had some other failed attempts at getting me out of Andrew's life. Needless to say, all those attempts were not successful, since Andrew never left my side and we were quite happy together. This is the reason I mostly ignored Katherine's crazy antics even though that we've lived in the same house. After some time, even she seemed to have given up and stopped with her crazy tricks. But that was all until last night. A lot of you must be wondering why I'm actually living with my in-laws. The thing is that Andrew's father has a huge mansion and a lot of space for us to live in. Plus, Andrew has been working in his father's firm for a long time. For the ease of the ways and save some money, it just makes sense for us to live there. Moreover, Andrew doesn't want to leave his parents alone as his father has some health conditions and Andrew wants to be right there for him in case of an emergency. I also did not have any problem with it because I got accustomed to ignoring Katherine and all the tricks that she tried to play to separate Andrew and me. Now that you guys have an idea of what kind of woman Katherine is and how much she disliked me, let me tell you the crazy thing that's led me here. As I mentioned a few years back, Katherine had stopped troubling me. I assumed that she finally accepted me as Andrew's wife. Things were actually fine in the last 2 years, though she still clearly showed how she hated my guts and kept her distance. She did not try to bother me much, and I was kind of okay with it because honestly, even I was not very fond of creating some mother-daughter bond with her. This was the time when I fell pregnant with my baby boy Ian. It was a really happy time for us, and all of our family was happy except for Katherine. I mean, it wasn't like she was sad about my pregnancy, but she wasn't happy with the news either. The only thing she was happy about was when I left my job in my 6th month of pregnancy, as it was getting hard for me to handle everything. Even then, she did not let the things go without taunting me, because up until my 6th month of pregnancy, she would constantly badger Andrew about how I cared more about my career than the baby since I was still working. Yesterday was Ian's first birthday. My father-in-law had organized a grand celebration for the same at our house. All of us were excited, but Andrew had to leave a day before the birthday due to some urgent work meeting. He was pretty upset about it, but I knew that he had to go since my father-in-law could not travel much due to his health condition. He also left all these important responsibilities on Andrew's shoulders. See, I understood it and knew how important it was for us since I was not working anymore. In Andrew's absence, Katherine gave away to her most chaotic plan yet. See, as I mentioned before, last night, Katherine kicked me out of the house during the party. Well, the reason, you may ask. She claims that I cheated on Andrew and the baby Ian was not even his. Can you believe this woman? And guess what led to this crazy thought? She came to the stupid conclusion all because Ian looked, quote, nothing like Andrew. Well, that's what she based her stupid accusation on and kicked me out of the home. The people around us, and I mean other family members, including Katherine's own sister, Aunt Pearl, tried to stop her from doing it. But Katherine did not listen to anyone and told them to keep out of her family affair. Even my father-in-law tried to reason with her, but she just continued with her insanity and shut my father-in-law up. Now, that's how I found myself out of the house, and I knew for so many years, with Ian crying in my arms and a bunch of suitcases around me. Guess what? Katherine had the, quote, kindness to pack my stuff before the party even started. I was helpless when Aunt Pearl offered to help me out. She believed that her sister was being unfair to me and she had no proof of her accusation. Aunt Pearl did not actually care if I cheated on Andrew or not. She just felt that it was unfair of Katherine to take such an extreme action without proof. And being the kind soul that she is, she told me that I could stay at her place. That seemed like the best option at that point since I've been trying to call Andrew, and he was not picking up my calls, and I was actually getting worried about where would I go since I don't have many friends. Well, that's how I ended up here at Aunt Pearl's house, confused and helpless. This is where I'm writing from right now since I couldn't sleep a wink last night. It's all been a mess in my head since the incident of last night, and now even this new morning seems bleak to me. I've been trying to reach Andrew, but he's just not picking up my calls. He must be busy with all the work, yet I can't help but feel anxious about the whole situation. I don't know what to do. Though I do have a place to stay for now, I'm still worried about what should I do next. This is not a permanent solution for anything, and I'm really worried about what Andrew will think about the whole thing. What if he believes Katherine over me and decides to support her? What will I do then? Should I go and talk to Katherine once? I don't know. I'm pretty helpless right now, and I just want what's absolutely best for my son and this entire situation to go ahead and play out. It's definitely not good for him. I don't know what to do at this point. So here I am asking a bunch of strangers on the internet to help me and provide me with any advice possible of what I can do right now. Your advice and suggestions would be greatly appreciated, guys. Thank you so much. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's me again. It's only been 2 days since my original post on the whole mess in my life, so I have good news and another sickening news for you guys. But before getting into the mess that is my life, I would like to reply to some people who took their precious time just to be mean to me in the comment section. Before I proceed to answer them, I would just like to thank the kind and sweet people here who have shown me nothing but kindness and have supported me. You guys actually gave me the strength to bear with my current situation. But to the guys who said that I am the one who never tried to mend our relationship, well, I never wanted to beef with Katherine in the first place. I've also been on my best behavior with her and never actually gave her a reason to hate me. Unless you would like people to trample all over you, don't assume and point out the worst in people without a second thought. Okay, now getting back to how things have been lately. Firstly, the good news. I was finally able to reach Andrew as he called me himself once he got the free time. That was just an hour after I wrote my original post. He told me that he was in an important meeting and had just left his phone with his other stuff. I would have called him out on this, but it was all because he was expecting calls or something, I don't know. When I told him about everything, he was pretty furious. And to my surprise, he did not doubt me even for a second. He told me that he would trust me with his life, and he knew that I would never do anything like this to him. I was grateful for his trust, and the moment I knew he believed me, it was such a relief. It was like a whole load of weight taken off my shoulders. But he was still furious at his mother and decided to come back home right that moment. I could not allow him to do that. I knew how important this thing was for the company and him. Leaving it in the middle would only put the company to a loss. And we could not afford that, not especially now. So I just assured him that I'm alright living with Aunt Pearl for some time, and she also doesn't have a problem with it and has asked me to stay for as long as I wished. I told him that he should only come once his work there is done. Though he was reluctant to comply after constant assurance and requests from me, he agreed. But he called his mom right that moment, but she did not pick up. Even my father-in-law's phone was not reachable. That's when Andrew asked me to go to the house just to get him in touch with his mom. I didn't have a problem with it since I was planning to go talk to Katherine once, so I thought this would be the perfect thing to do to clear out the messy situation. But I was so wrong, because when we reached there, Katherine could not have treated us any worse. I'd taken Ian with me since he was being cranky the whole time. Well, I thought it might be good for him, but no. Katherine just messed things up even further. See, when I reached there, she refused to listen to me and even talk to Andrew. I guess she knew Andrew was going to rebuke her, and that's why she avoided him like the plague. Not only that, this woman tried to push Ian away when he tried to grab the hem of her skirt. Guys, can you believe it? This woman is now taking her anger out on a 1-year-old? Before she could do anything else, I took Ian and left. I was very shocked, but Andrew was even more shocked by how his mother was treating us. I'm ready to take a DNA test just so I can go out of my way to prove it to Katherine that Ian is indeed Andrew's son. Well, but Katherine is not ready to listen to me. Andrew has told me to stay with Aunt Pearl and not do anything else until he gets home. He doesn't want me to face his mom's crazy behavior again, and that's why he's asked me to avoid her. I know avoiding her is not the solution, but right now this is what I'm planning to do, until Andrew gets back from his business trip. See, it'll take him a few more days to get back, and until he's here, I can't do anything. I'm just staying here at Aunt Pearl's and waiting for Andrew to be back so I can finally prove to Katherine how wrong she is. Aunt Pearl has been really supportive throughout the whole thing. I'm really grateful for all her help, but here's to hoping that I don't have to stay with her for longer. I'll update you guys on whatever happens. Update number 2. Guys, I know it's been only 4 days since my last update, but I have some crazy news. You won't believe the jackpot I just hit and how well I can use it against Katherine. Also, Andrew is still not back from his business trip, and I'm still waiting for him. But after this insane news, I can hardly contain my excitement and actually want to confront Katherine ASAP. But I'm not going to repeat my mistake and go to meet her alone because you all know how that ended, with yelling and insults the last time. I went there, so I'm waiting for Andrew to come back so that we can go and finally teach Katherine a lesson together. Now, getting to the crazy thing I found, guess what? Katherine, who shows herself as this all-righteous woman and who accused me of cheating on my husband, oh, she's no saint. Because she herself cheated on my father-in-law decades ago, when Andrew wasn't even born. It's kind of very suspicious that Andrew was born just sometime after Katherine's affair, am I right? Now, it's starting to all make sense and make me question the fact if Andrew is even my father-in-law's son or not. What if Katherine is just reflecting her own doubts on me and using them to trouble me? Now, you guys must be wondering how I actually found out all this. It really is an interesting discovery done in the most interesting way. Yesterday, I was cleaning some things up, thinking about Aunt Pearl had been kind enough to let me stay. I shall just repay her by helping her around. Aunt Pearl was out for a week when I was trying to organize the storeroom, which was a complete disaster. And there I found the absolute jackpot. There was letters that I thought of ignoring, thinking that they were too personal for me to snoop through. But when I saw Katherine's name on it, I got intrigued. And throughout those letters, I found out how Katherine had an affair with a guy named Mark. It was an elaborate affair, and I guess it somehow had the involvement of Aunt Pearl as well, as her name was mentioned at times, and the guy had told Katherine to be careful of her. It was clear that Katherine had cheated on my father-in-law. But who was this Mark, and why were those letters in Aunt Pearl's house? I knew that only Aunt Pearl could answer these questions, so when she came back home, I showed her the letters and asked her about it. Oh man, first she was very shocked. But soon as she started to get a bit emotional and told how Mark was her first boyfriend and how he cheated on her with her sister, meaning my mother-in-law, it was to me quite a shocking surprise. You see, Aunt Pearl had caught Katherine and Mark because of those letters. Then Mark disappeared when Katherine got pregnant, as both of them were doubtful that it could be Mark's kid. Aunt Pearl, she told me how her relationship with her sister was ruined because of this, but with time her sister asked for forgiveness and Aunt Pearl ended up forgiving her. But I would just say that the distance between them was still there and that this is the only reason why she decided to help me just despite her sister. Well, you know what? I don't actually blame her for using me against her sister. Well, I don't actually blame it at all. The way she got emotional decades after the whole thing happened clearly, and it showed how Aunt was really hurt. You know, I knew this was the news that I had to tell Andrew about, but I had something better in my mind. I did not actually tell him. Now, I'm waiting for him to get back so I can actually expose Katherine for the liar that she is, and I'm ready for the DNA test first, as I was before, but now I only had one tiny condition. Let's just see how Katherine would react to the condition. Well, one thing is for sure, things are about to get a bit crazy for her. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back. So, it's been just a few days since my last update, but here I am with another major one. You can notice how happy I seem. Well, I have 2 reasons for that. The first is that Andrew is back in town, and the second, well, I finally put my plan into action. When Andrew came back, the first thing he did after meeting Ian and me was to go to his mom's house and talk to her. I did not even stop him, nor did I tell him about the huge secret that I just discovered. I know it was going to hurt him, and I just wanted to be sure of a few things before I dropped the bomb on him. Also, I did not stop him before I wanted to see how Katherine would react to her son arguing over this with her. Well, guess what? Katherine was still adamant about what she had said. About me cheating on little Andrew. Moreover, she tried to get Andrew against me and told him that she was just saving him from a cheat like me. I'm really fortunate to have a husband like Andrew, who trusts me so much and is ready to defend me even if it means going against his own mother. Andrew refused to believe her and came back to us. And that's when I told Andrew that I didn't mind doing a DNA test. Andrew didn't want to do one since he didn't want to make me feel that I needed to prove myself. Well, I told him that I would get the DNA test done, and Ian only if her mother allowed to get it done on Andrew. He was a bit confused about it and asked me what I meant, and I just told him to trust me, and he did. So when we reached his mother's house and kept the whole condition of Andrew taking a DNA test too, Katherine was frantic. She started shouting around and said there's no need for her to prove anything, and I'm the one who shall be proving that Ian is Andrew's son or not. It was actually pretty satisfying to watch Katherine absolutely lose her calm and get all panicky. It was like she suddenly lost all the confidence which she pushed me out from. Even my father-in-law could not understand what's happening and asked me, why did Andrew need to go through a DNA test? I told everyone that my answer would be clear when the results came. Katherine continued to act crazy and talked about how she was a righteous woman, and I was questioning her character when I myself cheated on my husband. She went ahead to insult me further by saying that she did not have a loose character like me, and was actually loyal to her hubby. Yeah, right. Her comments became uglier after that as she continued to rebuke me and refused to take a DNA test at all. Well, after some time, when I was still adamant on it, my husband and father-in-law tried to convince her to just get it done. It was no loss, right? If anything, she would just get to prove her loyalty and my disloyalty altogether. I would call it killing 2 birds with a stone. But, you see, Katherine was still not budging. After some time, when everyone was starting to doubt her, she finally gave in to my demand. You all must be thinking that I could have just gotten the DNA test done with my husband and father-in-law's help, right? But then I would not get to see Katherine panicking like this, and believe me, it was a satisfying sight to witness. Yesterday, we both got the DNA test done, on Ian and on Andrew as well. Now we're just waiting for the results to come in. I know I'm taking a huge risk as I have no surety that Andrew is Mark's kid, but I also have no surety that my father-in-law is his father. So, no matter the risk, I know I have to go through with this. Let's just see how things turn out. Update number 4. Hey guys, it's been more than a month, and I'm sorry I didn't write to you sooner. I know a lot of you wanted to know what exactly happened and what the results of the DNA test were. Well, let's start with the obvious news first. Ian is indeed Andrew's baby. And now there's no doubt about that, so I've successfully shut Katherine up. Not only that, I've successfully uprooted her life completely from ours in just a few days. Now for the big news. Andrew is not my father-in-law's son. Shocker. Yeah, my doubt was right. See, Andrew is indeed Mark's son. Can you guess absolutely how shocked my father-in-law and Andrew were? My father-in-law was blank for some time when we showed him the report, and he could not process the whole thing. And Andrew, well, his spirit was absolutely shattered. He could not believe that the mother he trusted so much would keep such a big truth from her. This is when I showed all the letters to them to tell them where I got to know about this whole thing. As every action has a consequence, Katherine's lies and deceptions also had their own consequences at her. My father-in-law kicked her out of the house as she started to beg for forgiveness. It's actually ironic how Katherine kicked me out of the home, and by doing this, she just dug herself deep into some sort of hole. See, if she had not kicked me out of the home in the first place, then I would not have found the truth out, and she would still be living peacefully in her own house. But no, I guess this is how Katherine had to get the karma of her own betrayal and her evil schemes. And because of her planning and plotting to kick me out of Andrew's life, she herself got kicked out. I honestly don't feel an ounce of sympathy towards her, as she did this to herself, you know. Not only that, my father-in-law has also filed a divorce, and by the looks of it, Katherine is definitely not getting anything since they already had a prenup signed, where a cheating partner would get absolutely nothing in case of a divorce. So you can see how Katherine has ended up homeless and penniless, all because of her actions. But let me know, do you think I went too far by exposing everyone to those letters that I found? Or do you think it was simply none of my business?